Hey, hello there. This video is quite probably the most important video I am going to show you guys on this channel. Here I am going to show you guys the culmination of months upon months of NFTs learning and research. To show you guys what I believe to be the best overall NFTs that you guys could hold onto for the year of 2022. I know there are a ton of NFTs out there that are extremely good. And the ones on this list might be different than your list. But overall, I want to give you guys some insight into our thought process and how I find NFTs that we're going to hold on to for a long time. So if you guys are new, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and let's get right into it. Now, starting things off, I have to think about a few factors. The number one factor being obviously what makes an NFT worthy of holding, and the first thing that comes to my mind when it comes to holding an NFT for a long term is whether or not this NFT has a long-term vision or a long-term place in the NFT market. Now we look for things that will be here in a long time. I think the first staple that I can sort of cover is companies. Are these NFTs formed by companies or influencers? Or celebrities who have some level of stature, some level of credibility, and some level of establishment in either the clothing scene, Hollywood, and gaming? There are a bunch of different areas that translate over into the NFT industry. But the first thing that comes to my mind is Adidas Originals into the metaverse. Now this project has a pretty consistent history, not really moving all that much. And even recently the floor has only kicked up a little bit. Although it doesn't have any amazing track record that is so worth raving about. But what I love about the Adidas project is that it's run by freaking Adidas. I think that's kind of obvious in the fact that they are one of the first major companies of this stature to have developed a project like this. Now when I take a look at their website, it is a very simple yet consistent roadmap that they are planning to do. Of course, in 2022 having some level of virtual land experiences. And to be honest with you guys, one of the biggest regrets I have is not buying one of these when they were cheap. And right about now I don't really have the budget to just spend on two of these Adidas and blow 2.5 Ethereum. That's probably not something I could do right now, but I would say, if this is within your budget, might be good to hold on to for the long term, because I don't think Adidas are going anywhere. I don't think their project is going anywhere. And I think this is probably one of the better options to get into the metaverse with a mainstream sort of company that, to be honest, has a track record of making a lot of freaking money. Now the next project I wanted to mention is perhaps one of the best options in my view for getting into is the digital land ownership kind of thing, and this is my most expensive NFT purchase ever. Purchasing this at 0.75 Ethereum. So over the past few hours these guys have absolutely exploded with the reveal of their actual cities now. They're going to have a lot of staking features available for this project, and again this is probably my proudest NFT purchase in history. I'm extremely happy I was able to snag one of these. There I spent way more than I felt comfortable spending. But sometimes you got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable, and this Metaverse NFT project has a history of being incredible on Twitter. With more than 100,000 followers, so they definitely seem to have the social credibility. And let's be honest guys, this looks cool, like they have just about every major feature that you would want a Metaverse land project like this to have. So they sold out right before their public sale, which is I think 9,900 of the 10,000 supply just in their whitelist. So the public sale was almost non-existent, and that is why I decided to ape in when the floor was 0.75. So again, what I love about this project is they've been building and they're going to have features like staking, where you can stake your city to earn the Met utility token. And when you look at a project like this, I would hold on to this for a long time. It's hard to say whether or not I want to flip it right now for 1.2, get a little under double my money, and then maybe buy 2 once the floor has a pullback. It's possible, but then it's also possible this floor never has a pullback, because I think this is ultimately a very quality project in the metaverse space. And again, none of the projects in this video are sponsored, none of them. I don't even own all the projects in this video. I don't own the Adidas, I wish I did, but the metaverse is the one I do own. I'm very proud of that pick, and I also do think they'll be here for a long time. Now the next project here is something entering the sort of fashion, clothing, sort of influencer niche, and that is the Hey Prime project. which has been building a ridiculous amount of support here for a long time. They are basically 8000 3D apes or hype apes, and they're fully capitalizing on the hypebeast kind of theme and that whole aesthetic. And they've really done a great job of doing that, and that is why their floor price has risen dramatically in recent time. This mint has only been very recent, but the floor is sitting around 7.6, which is again absolutely bonkers for a project that minted at 0.2. As you guys can see, this is going to be huge. They have captivated Discord. And they have a ridiculous amount of followers over on the Hypebeast Twitter. Right here you guys can see 269,000 followers, literally ludicrous. And again, I said this is one of the best experiments in NFT marketing I've ever seen in recent time. Now it's hard to say whether or not these guys are overvalued now. Because to be honest with you, with a floor of 7.6, it's hard to see how much profit there is to make. But, if you guys snagged one of these, or somehow had the fortune of grabbing one, I think they'll hold their value for a long time to come, because this community doesn't going anywhere. They've done one of the finest jobs I've seen in marketing, and that is ultimately why it made its place in the list for today's video. Now, the next project on my list, I have also purchased one of, that is, the San Vegas Casino Club, because this is one of the affordable projects out there. And I think this guy has a big future, because what this project actually does is, it owns a land in the sandbox, which is the second biggest metaverse platform out there, of course. Right next to Decentraland. It is the second biggest metaverse platform out there. Of course, right next to Decentraland. It is the second biggest metaverse platform out there, and what they do is actually open casinos in this land. So by holding the NFT, you enter into their profit share program, and they give 50% of the profit that they make in their casino to holders. So presuming that these Sandbox and Decentraland continue to grow, which I am sure they will, because considering they are the leading metaverse cryptos out there, what would be a better idea than owning a piece of a meta casino? I was able to snag one of these for 0.29 over on LooksRare on a competitor to OpenSea. They had a slightly lower floor, and I was very glad I was able to pick one of these up. But again, I still think this is undervalued right now. I would definitely say this is probably one of the better projects to ape into if you were considering it. Because I believe that over time they will again buy these casinos in Decentraland and Sandbox. And this will allow them to grow and prosper as those platforms grow. So if you don't want to spend 4 Ethereum, which is the floor price right now for Monoland, or 3.5 Ethereum, which is the floor price for Sandbox land, you can actually buy land in a sense, by buying these casinos which own land themselves. So you are paying for an NFT that is paying for land, to generate revenue in these metaverses, that again I believe they are not going anywhere. I believe they are here to stay, and ultimately I think this company is doing a great job at maintaining that. Now the final project I wanted to talk about in this video is probably going to generate a lot of rage comments. And keep them coming, because, to be honest with you, I see a ton of inherent value in looking at derivative projects like either Soulpunks or Bored Apes Solana Club. Now these are 2 examples of derivatives that I have. There are other derivatives out there that are good, but these are 2 of the most major derivatives, because Soulpunks is a derivative of course of the CryptoPunks on the Ethereum chain, and Bored Apes Solana Club is a derivative of the Bored API Club. Now Magic Eden has recently kind of flooded these projects by placing them off of the homepage and in the derivative category, but aside from that, I think something like either Soulpunks or Bored Apes Solana Club or Galactic Punks on the Luna blockchain will perform extremely well in the future. It's hard to say whether all of them will rocket, but I think one of these derivative projects will perform very well at some point. Because let's be honest, everybody wants to find the next CryptoPunk or the next Bored API Club. And the easiest way to do that is to ape into the same thing on another chain. Now I know some people have ethical concerns about whether or not you should be able to have a derivative project. To be honest you guys, they're just NFTs for me. I personally don't see an issue with having some kind of knockoff of a major project. It's not the same name, I mean they're called something different from Soulpunks, and also getting rid of something like emotional attachment, like this, is probably a healthy thing to do. Because even if you don't love the idea, or don't think that these are particularly beautiful looking, particularly they happen to replicate one of the largest crypto projects out there. And that is the CryptoPunks. Then of course same thing with Bored Apes Solana Club, they look very similar to Bored API Club. But they're the biggest NFT project on the entire freaking planet. And they are replicating this on the Solana chain. So again, I don't want to vouch for these two projects specifically, but do look into derivatives and knockoffs. And think about creating an even spread of ownership in derivatives like either Solpunks, Bored Apes Solana Club, and things like that. Definitely do think about possibly having some investments in derivatives like this, because I think one of them, one day may have some weird explosion. And I did sit here and watch my Solpunk, which I bought for 8 Solana, soared to 40 Solana. I still remember that happening back in September of last year, and I could very well see it happening again given the right momentum. So with that being said guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you guys did, make sure drop a like. Subscribe. Again, all of the projects I named, I am not particularly associated with, in any way, shape, or form, but a couple of them, like I said, I was able to buy for a reasonable price. I do think they will generally hold their value in 2022. Of course, do your own research as always. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you all in the next video. Take care.